Good beautiful morning to you all. We're doing production car challenge at VIR today, and out of all of the classes, I've personally been in love with the racing of the GR86. What could go wrong? I cannot say thank you enough to SIMAGIC and MANSKE Racing and Performance. They have just been a huge help, along with, of course, the GOAT of livery designs, Lamp. Welcome to PCC. We're going to hop straight into qualifying. I didn't do many laps, but the lap basically starts at the last corner of your out lap, which we're covering right now. Just want to carry as much speed as possible through there and look for a solid run onto the straight, which will turn into the run to turn 1 for your first lap, which is right now. And going into turn 1, I was aiming to break around the 1 just before it, and I really wanted to hold this tight and travel as little distance as possible, but went pretty wide in this case. Carried a decent amount of speed, so I don't think it was too bad. You don't want to touch this first apex of this corner. You want to go all of the way out wide, swing the car, get on throttle early, eat that curb, ride all of the way out. You can even use a little bit of dirt there through the S's, chunk these curbs. Probably could have chonked that one even more. This one looked pretty good, and you're flat out all of the way through here. It's really just balancing the car, keeping the weight on that left side, trying to get the car through with as little drama as possible, being as smooth as you can up the S's, flat out here. Second set of S's on this track, I suppose. Really important next corner, this downhill left-hander. Just lift, you don't have to brake here. You can even stay in 5th. I go to 4th in this case, but there's a lot of time to be found when you take that corner correctly. Oak tree, super important corner. You want to get on throttle as early as possible, again, as little dramatics as possible to keep the car smooth, because you have a huge straight here. It's like 30-second long straight in this car. We're not going to cover it all. Skip ahead to the braking zone, which is, I think, just at / after the 1. This car has phenomenal ABS, so like it's crazy how good the ABS in this car feels. I feel like it works perfectly. It's better than you can do with your own foot. Final corner, braking just after the curbing. Get on throttle as early as possible because it is, once again, a really long straight, and carry as much speed towards the finish line. This lap was, I don't know if it was good or not. We had only done 3 or 4 laps total, but 207.9 put us actually in a pretty decent position. It put us P2 for our class, and we're only about half of a hundredth, or about 100th behind the car ahead in P1. There were a couple of notable names on the grid with us that I want to cover briefly. We're starting in P2 in that red and black car on the right side of your screen. Joey was a few cars behind us in this basically stock white GR. Looks fantastic in stock white. And then not far behind him was Renee Coda Sandoval, who's driving on his Smurf. Feel free to flame him in the comments for this. In the black and red Momo car. You've seen both of those guys on the channel probably a few times if you've been watching. And they are going to play a pretty crucial part in this race. Now, something I was not aware of is that the safety car was basically controlling the M2s, and when they go green, we go green. I just totally blanked out. I hadn't done this much, so I actually get jumped by P3, or at least go side by side into the final corner of lap 0, the formation lap, by P3, and end up actually starting the race in P3. So I lost a position, and worse than that, we almost fell completely out of the slipstream of P1, who is now a full second ahead of Zach, and I felt like I had pace over Zach just due to the qualifying times. I think I was a few tenths ahead of him, so I wanted to try and get around him as early as possible. May not have been the smartest decision. I sent it super deep into T1, which ends up pitting me against the sketched on number 86 GR86 on my right side going into NASCAR Bend. I have the inside. This pretty much will guarantee you this position. You can hang it around the outside. It's super difficult, and you're really looking for some tight racing from the car on the inside. I just felt like I was going to send that one, so he backs out. We're up back into P3, or still in P3, I suppose, and right back on the tail of Zach. Something super important to recognize in this race is that Phil Miller, the car in the Clio, who we are on board with, he was out for a Sunday drive. I don't know if this guy has ever driven this car before, or this track, or iRacing at all, but he was going severely under the limit, and that would cause some pretty big ramifications for myself, Zach, and a few others. Through the fast downhill left-hander, we go into the back of Zach. Wasn't expecting the break there, and that would be something I would have to adapt throughout this race. A lot of people were braking for that corner. Now keep an eye on Phil Miller, or try to. You can't really see him, but there he is, just appearing right in front of us as he is... I don't know. It's like so he's parking it at Oak Tree, basically. He's in the middle of the track. I thought he was going to try and let people through. Maybe he was trying to. I have no idea. He didn't even have to brake for that corner. He was going so slow. I've killed Zach. Zach is completely dead. We just lost like 10 positions. I have damage on my front end, and that was the multi-class aspect of PCC, I suppose. I don't know how common this type of thing is in PCC. This is like my second PCC race ever. By the way, PCC means Production Car Challenge, which is the name of this series. Now, we are in the middle of this huge group down the straight. We have been demoted to, I think, P8 at the moment, or P9. I think we're about to fall down to P9, actually, as these two look to go around the right side into, what is the name of that corner? The roller coaster. Turn 14, and I'm looking to just hold the outside. The car behind me just opts to avoid the apex completely, and it door bangs me through there, which I think this type of stuff is pretty common for GR racing. I'm gonna reduce the size of the standings, by the way, because that shit was getting way too big with this multi-class. So we're settled now totally into P9. We have a second to the car behind us. There are 4 or 5, 6 cars within like a second and a half up ahead of us, so there's a lot of opportunity to move forward. The 2 cars ahead seem like they're battling. Valentino Papa, he's gonna be a bit of a character in this race as he looks to go up the inside into turn 1 around Enrique Gomez number 3. When there are this many cars this close together at the back of the pack, all you can really do is sit back, look for an opening, try and follow the right car through. In this case, we're hugging what is the outside for NASCAR bend, aka turn 3 that we're heading into. Not really where you want to be, but like I said, you can make it work sometimes. The car on the inside was pretty shy there, and we go around the outside, no drama whatsoever. So up into P8, and we're going to follow Valentino Papa through corners 4, 5, and 6 right here as the train is really beginning to form ahead of us. Lots of opportunity this race, I was pretty sure, and that's kind of, you know, once something like what happened on lap 1 happens to you, you just have to accept it. This is my life, this is my situation, and I want to make the best of it. Going into the S's, up the hill, trying to make it a bit awkward for Valentino, not really alongside, but just kind of staying close enough that he's like not online. Not that that would make a huge difference, but you never know. Just want to open up as much possibility for mistake as I can. Valentino's breaking through this corner. I opt to take the grass line, look up the inside, pull him over there, throw him offline. He is now most likely going deep into Oak Tree, and sure enough, I'm going to open it up, slide underneath him, and look at this. Just pulled this off to perfection. We do get a little racy, introducing his headlight to our tail light as we get onto the straight, and this really could not have worked out much better for me. It was a very aggressive move. You can have your own take on how aggressive or how fair that was. I see that as a super clean move, and I think that's just kind of how you have to race these cars. It really is about engineering moves and getting your elbows out a bit. Now down the straight, that worked out really well because he's now side by side with Gomez, who he's just overtaken not long ago. He did message me this in the chat immediately following that sequence, but I kind of ignored that. I felt like that was a good move. Let me know in the comments what you thought about that. Enrique looking to go up the inside into roller coaster, but not going to do anything other than kind of hurt his exit just enough to make me feel a bit more comfortable going through the final corner and onto the very long front straight. So I think had he just taken the racing line there, that would have been a better option for him. That would have been a huge dive to make work. We do drive off of the track, but regardless, we have quite a big gap behind us, 4/10 as we start the straight, and by the end of the straight, we're not really under any pressure. As a matter of fact, Valentino Papa looking to get the move back on Enrique, which is just fantastic for us. I love seeing people fight behind me when they're this close. It allows me to pull away, and you know, potentially something could happen between those two that pulls them out of this race and just reduces the pressure potentially to 0 for me if they wrecked each other out. Now going through NASCAR bend, Valentino looking to go around the outside, ends up going into the dirt and ceding that position. Not quite going to make it side by side into corners 4, 5, and 6, but they are still on each other's tail, and the gap between them to me is getting pretty gargantuan at this point. That little bit of fighting has opened up a 1.2 second gap. Looking ahead, though, there are a lot of cars, 2 of them being Joey and Renee. That's Renee on the right side. That is Joey on the left in the white. And yes, Renee is on a Smurf. His name is Eric Rivera on this account. Just gonna let that knowledge be put out there. They're side by side all of the way up the hill and through the downhill fast left-hander. What is the name of that corner? That is corner number 10. Okay, from now on, I'm calling that corner number 10. Through Oak Tree, we go a bit wide. in this car, I don't think you need to use all of the track for Oak Tree. You really just want to keep that left tire loaded up and get on throttle as early as possible, which doesn't really require the entire track there. Into Roller Coaster, and Zhao overslows, almost goes into the back of Rene, and we find space on the right side of him. This very rarely will translate to a completed move, so I'm going to back out and just follow him through the final corner and see if we can have something happen next race. There was also a battle happening at the front of this group for P2, which would hopefully translate to, positions falling back to me. At the helm of that battle is Joey, looking to go around the number 86, number 38, GR86 on the inside. Well, Joey's on the outside looking to go around, which is a super valid move if you can hang it around the outside, which he does successfully. This now gives him the inside for NASCAR, which huge advantage through that corner. And I am able to actually take advantage of this entire situation as everybody is slowing down. I'm able to get a decent run, push out wide, which is the inside again for NASCAR. So I'm just about looking to take that from Zhao. He is ahead, but he allows the space on the inside, and I'm going to slide into it, try and follow Nathan through. Zhao completely backs out and gives up P6 to me. Nathan immediately overslows into corners 4, 5, and 6, which puts it in my head right off the bat that I need to get around this guy because we've just lost almost 7/10 to Rene through the entry of that corner, which just isn't something that you should have to deal with. And it says that there's only 9 laps. We're on lap 4, so I was thinking that this race would be pretty short. There would end up being quite a few more laps. I'm not sure how that happened. I think 13 laps total this race, but at the moment I was thinking 9, so I felt like I was under pressure to get a move done, trying to throw him offline into Oak Tree, which he does go a bit offline, but he really makes that exit work very nicely for himself and has a really good line all of the way through there, to be honest. Look at the freaking group that we're in. Joey at the helm in P2, we're in P6, P1 is totally gone. He's got like a 3 or 4 second gap at least, and that would pretty much continue to grow as we were just fighting constantly. Car number 86, 36, GR86 looking to go around the outside of Joey. Rene is pushing him into this fight, saying, "You're not giving up this position. Go too wide into Roller Coaster," and Joey does it side by side into Roller Coaster, and man, these two had a crazy race together. You'll see a lot more of them as we go through it. Joey actually ends up getting caught on the outside there, and this creates a weird situation where everybody's backing up. I back off early, somehow find a way through the final corner to just send it over the curb, very narrowly making that work. No contact, no off track, about as flawless of a move as you can have through that corner, I think. He did overslow due to the too wide situation up ahead of him, but that's just racing. We made use of it up into P5, and we're already beginning to pull away from Zhao. Very, very controversial situation, I think, going into turn 1 here. Joey and Eric Rivera, aka Rene, I look to make it through wide. Rene blocks blatantly, horribly, blatantly blocking into the braking zone there. His defense was that he didn't want to go 3 wide. Rene, I have information for you. If you don't want to go 3 wide, back out. That is not the way you do it. And that definitely got a little bit into my head as I was thinking, I mean, whenever I see somebody do something like that, you either back off completely or you say, okay, elbows out and into the next corner. He is outside. He's on the outside for NASCAR Ben. I'm going to follow Joey through. He's going to turn in and try and hit that apex. And once we make contact, I lean into it saying, no, you know what? That's my corner. And I'll show a couple of different angles of it. It was definitely a late move from me, but I also felt like he was cutting in pretty aggressively. I don't know. You can be the judge of this one. But it kind of transferred over from that move into the braking zone, at least the amount of aggression that I was showing through that corner. Now, in through corners 4, 5, 6, Rene really nicely finding space to go too wide through corners 5 and 6, and that is going to send us too wide into the snake, which is the uphill S's that we are about to head into. Zhao is behind us, catching up. I'm a bit scared of losing Joey, and we were in VC at the time. I said, Rene, please, just let me catch Joey. He said, okay. He backs out. All is forgiven, all is well, except for the fact that I did get 4 incidents from that, and that ended up putting me at 13 incident points, which is just 1 contact away from getting a drive through, which would effectively put me in last place. So I can no longer make contact with cars. Very fortunately for me, the red number 86 GR86 that was battling with Joey has driven off of the track on Oak Tree. I get rear-ended by Rene. Thank God it was a 0 times, so no penalty there. And we make it through just in the perfect situation. That car rejoined the track, so everybody had to slow down. I was the last one to be able to get like a semi-decent run, so it opened up enough of a gap to keep me safe. And they're kind of all battling now. Rene is still right behind me, but I'm closer to Joey than I was. I am in his slipstream. I would say slipstream extends to about 1.1 seconds in this car around there, although it doesn't really kick in until you get within about half of a second, 4/10, and then you start to truly feel it. Once you're a little bit further back, you're kind of just like not falling off is all the slipstream is doing. So it's still up to you to catch the car ahead. And I was doing pretty well to stay with Joey here. Renee is going to go very deep into corner 4, which is going to throw him off into 5 and 6 into the dirt, which makes it very, very hard to get a good run. And he is going to feel the, he's going to suffer the consequences of that mistake as the GR86 red 86 car, I don't fucking know. His name is Marcelo. So Marcelo goes through in front of Renee, as do a couple of other drivers, and we're able to catch up to Joey at the same time. So all is well in our world. We're sitting in P3, potentially going to be able to run away from that group behind us if we work together nicely, and of course are able to display better pace than those cars behind us, because it doesn't matter if you're working together. If both of you are underpaced, then you're going to get caught. And looking at that relative, JP, the car behind us, he's about a second behind us at this point, so he's just barely in slip, but he's not getting pushed from behind, so he's basically just on his own pace. And keep an eye on that gap, as he will just continue to reel us in. His last lap was a 2:06.6, which is a fantastic time, and keep in mind, he made 2 overtakes on that lap, so he was absolutely flying. I think he was definitely the fastest car on track. At this point, me and Joey were actually catching the leader as well, who's running 2:08.5s. Me and Joey were running mid to low 2:07s, I think, on most of our laps. I'm pushing Joey up the S's, trying to work together, but it just doesn't matter. JP behind was way too fast, 1.1 seconds at the bottom of the S's. I do have to back off a little bit up the S's, of course, because I can't just go flat out and push Joey all of the way up there. Or, I don't know, maybe I can. I wasn't going to, because I didn't want to kill him. By the time we get onto the back straight, JP has caught us. Like, this man was absolutely flying, and also he has a great livery, which means, of course, that he's going to catch us and battle us. Now, I am looking to go around Joey. I felt like I had a bit better pace. I have been driving this car a lot more than Joey at this point, and I think Joey wanted to let me have a go at trying to lead. I'm going to make the biggest sham of this opportunity that anybody has ever made. Just go completely deep into roller coaster, into the dirt, and ultimately just fuck over Joey more than anybody else here. Like, Joey gets... We're now side by side into the final corner, and poor Joey, he gave me that position, and now I've just thrown him into the jaws of JP, and I think Marcello is right behind JP as well. So we're in a little group here. I try and give Joey slip, but this is going to be definitely a 2-wide situation for Joey into turn 1. I mean, look at him. He's basically getting spit roasted by me and Marcello at the moment. JP just out on his own, feeling the air, and I am side by side with JP. However, I have the inside. I should be able to pull away. I actually dart to the outside to get ahead of JP before NASCAR bends. Joey gets a good run as he has nobody in front of him impeding him, but he does have the outside. You can make this move work. Really tough to, and Joey backs out a bit early. I think Joey looks to cut for a really good run, but ends up just making a little bit of contact with the rear end of JP, which pulls both of them off of me and gives me a bit more breathing room as I head into corners 4, 5, and 6. It does drop Joey all of the way down into P5. We're currently in P2, 5 seconds behind Diogo, so we lost 2 seconds from that off track on the last lap. Really big mistake from us. I think had I not driven off the track there, this race could have very well been in the hands of me and Joey. However, the situation is that the momentum is with JP, I would say. He has been moving through the group flawlessly, putting in some heater laps, and as I stated earlier, I am 1 contact away from a drive-through. He doesn't know this, of course, but in my head, if anybody tries to do anything too crazy, I'm probably backing out. I don't want to serve that penalty. I don't want to have that penalty. I'd rather just finish like a bit lower down than finish at the back of the group. Now, JP is actually pushing us down the straight on this occasion, which was nice. It told me, he does want to work together. He wants to get away, but I do think that he was also a bit faster, and he would take 1 lap to kind of analyze my driving and see that. I was also a bit on the defensive side here because I wanted to make sure there was not a thought about a move, because if somebody did go for a move, like I said, I'm backing out. I don't want to make contact, so I'm staying defensive into T1. It's just better for me, I think, to slow everybody down and not risk somebody sending it than it is for me to open up the door and try and go side by side, risk making contact, and get that drive-through. Joey making good use of me overslowing the group here, looking for something around Marcello, holding him on the inside of NASCAR bin, looking for a better run. Not quite good enough of one to get that position, but you can see that Joey is back there analyzing Marcello and trying to engineer together a move, which is just always great to watch. And you will see some battling between them as the race goes on. Now, I think JP has had enough of sitting behind me at this point. He's probably going to take that next opportunity. He was on my tail this entire time, and you can see him kind of looking to the inside of this corner. I actually drive into the dirt on entry, which is horrible. I'm going to defend into Oak Tree, and he's going to have to back off a bit to match my pace through there. I do end up getting a really, really good run with a tight line, so I'm traveling a little distance. Also got a fantastic exit, but it's not going to make that much of a difference because this straight is just way too long for these cars. You're almost always going to get the opportunity to fire a move back, and you can see the car in P3 not even able to catch JP because the overspeed from JP to me is just so much that the cars behind are just kind of matching him as he goes flying onto the, well, technically the outside for roller coaster, the inside for like the entry. I don't know. I want none of it. I'm backing out. I'm letting everybody go through. I'm falling down to P5, and I accepted my fate. Didn't want to risk it, and you know, hopefully there's a battle between these guys that cracks something open for me, but there was going to be no more elbows out for me for the rest of this race. Sorry to say and spoil it for you, but there would be some fantastic racing still going on, especially this next lap. Lap number 10, Joey and Marcelo continuing their battle. He's holding Marcelo tight. He's opening it up for himself, looking to go around the outside again into turn 1, which he's already done once to Marcelo, so they've been in this exact same situation, and he just about, it looks like he's still afforded space on the inside here through NASCAR bend, and Marcelo is going to allow it, so they continue too wide. Really nicely done by Joey, and Marcelo eventually opts to tuck back behind and get in front of me before I'm able to follow Joey through. Good move to him. And from this point, it was basically Joey chasing JP, which was a tough situation. JP was absolutely flying, so much so that there wasn't really any battles for a long time. This is the final lap, lap number 13, and we're all still in the same order. Eventually Marcelo does look to make a move, trying to go around the outside. Joey hustles to that apex and slides ahead of Marcelo, trying to kill his run. I would say he does so successfully, but into NASCAR bend, this was a nice move for Marcelo, just taking the shortest possible distance. Look at the space between him and Joey. It forces Joey to go wide, allow that space because he was alongside, and now into corners 4, 5, and 6, Marcelo's going to do the same thing, kind of darting, like really commanding that Joey gives him space, and just gorgeous stuff from both of them, allowing each other space all of the way through corners 4, 5, not even touching at this point, 6, still not touching. Just, this is a little bit of touching as he gets thrown off of off that final apex on corner number 6, but up the hill, too wide. Are they going to do it? Yeah, they're going to do it. A little bit of contact at every single apex, I think, apart from that second one. I think, oh, actually, no. Dude, it's fantastic stuff. Side by side into corner number 10, and eventually Marcelo is going to back out. Joey takes the fastest possible line through there, getting a couple tires in the dirt and getting that move done for good. What a pleasure it was to watch that. My favorite thing about being at the back of a group is you get to see all the battles. Of course, you can try and get into that battle yourself and take advantage of moves, but sometimes it's just great to sit back and watch and enjoy racing, because that's what these cars had done to me. They had really just brought back some innate joy of racing that I had. They were so easy and fun to race. You don't really have to think too much about the inputs. We crossed the line in P5, which is better than crossing in P19 or whatever we would have been had we had a drive-through. Now, huge props to Joey, huge props to Marcelo. Life is amazing. This race was amazing. I love PCC, I think. Here are the results for that one. P5 in class, 13th overall. The M2s were way faster. But yeah, we lost safety rating and I rating for that. We basically had to be on the podium to avoid losing I rating. Not upset about it. I had a ton of fun. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, click the video on your screen, the playlist in the description, and subscribe.